Hey everyone, thanks for checking out our video. And before we jump in, I want you to consider two things. First is subscribe to the channel. Second, find Building and Becoming in our link list, click on it, and start your 7-day free trial to our Skool community. Okay, on to the lesson. Hey everybody, welcome into the sales course in our Building and Becoming Skool classroom. What we're doing today is we're going to discuss Module 1, Sales Module 1. So what is sales is the topic of today's talk. I've got a lot of notes that we're going to cover, so you'll see me going back and forth. There's a lot that I want to get imparted to you guys. I am freaking fired up about sales. It's how I made my hay, so to speak. I was in the car business for 27 years. Some of you know, some of you may not know. So a lot of my talks in these modules, a lot of the talks are going to be car centric, but they apply to all levels of sales, no matter if you're selling siding or homes or roofs or window washing services or whatever you might be doing. I want you to have pen and paper handy. I think that's important as we progress, and I want you to be ready to use it unless you're driving. So if you're listening to this on the app and you're driving, don't be trying to write stuff down. I don't want to have any of that liability. But if you are driving, go back when you're done and rewatch and take notes. Why? Why is that so important, guys? Because, and I want you to write this down, what is written is retained. So you're going to hear me say several times in this talk, write this down. All right. I'm trying to help you create a handbook. I call it a field manual. So I want you to have a notebook, a journal of some kind. You can always refer back to it. And I suggest you use the same notebook for at least each course in the classroom. So this course, when you look in the classroom, in our Skool platform, this is under sales and entrepreneurship. So at least one notebook for all the modules that you're going to see there. And these modules will multiply. They're never going to expire, but we're going to continue to add to them to bring you new training and content to help you continue to get better and grow. So the field manual is important, and I'd like you to start utilizing that tool. A couple things before we begin. I want to tell you guys, you're already ahead of 99% of the people that are in your field. Okay. You know that you need a group first and foremost to help you have accountability, to help you grow, and you know you need training. That puts you ahead of the competition. So you're already crushing it because you've taken this step. So kudos to you. Number two, your mindset is going to determine your success. Now that is another course in the classroom, and it's called mindset. You can see that, and I'm going to be adding to that as well. But mindset is an important part of everything that we discuss. So we're going to bring that up as well. Write this down. Your success is in your head before it's ever in your bank account. In other words, you act as if, all right, you've already become that 6-figure plus salesperson, or that sales manager, general manager, regional manager, whatever you're trying to aspire to. You're going to be the best and you're going to double your income in 2025. That means you need to act as if. So your mindset has to get right. You have to believe you've already achieved it. Your success is in your head before it's in your bank account. Now let's move on. The title of this first module is called What is Sales? So I want to get into what does that look like. I went and got the definition, the dictionary definition of sales. You ready for this? It's nice and boring for us. Sales is facilitating a transaction that includes an exchange of services or goods for a certain amount of money. Okay, doesn't really tell us anything. So what is the Jim Mote's definition of sales? I've had decades to put this together. So here it is. It's a little bit long. Again, write this down. The art of asking strategic questions and using the client's responses to identify and solve a problem while directing the process in the direction of maximum profitability while maintaining the highest standards of ethics and integrity. I'm going to say that again to you guys, okay? Pay attention. The art of asking strategic questions and using the client's responses to identify and solve their problem, while you're directing the process in the direction of maximum profitability. We're directing the process in the direction that's going to make us the most money while solving the client's problem. And what you'll find is the profitability goes up as you solve their problem in the most efficient and productive way. Another key to this, my definition of sales, you have to do all this while you're maintaining the highest standards of ethics and integrity. So if you didn't get all of that, obviously you can go back and rewatch some of this and get it down. But I think it's important to understand that's what we're talking about when we talk about sales. You'll hear a lot in different sales environments that you need to control your customer. I used to hear that all the time. You're weak. You're not controlling your customer. In fact, I used to teach it. Then I decided to not teach it because we're not about controlling people. We are about, however, controlling and directing the process, the sales process. We'll get into more of that, but we're not going to control people. That's not what this thing is. It's not manipulation. People will tell you sales is nothing but glorified manipulation. It's not manipulation. It's identifying a problem through asking the right questions and helping the client solve the problem. And yes, maximizing our profitability while doing so. It's a for-profit operation. We also want to be fair and make sure the client gets value. And remember that money and price, the only time those matter is in the absence of value. So your job as a sales rep, just create more value and make more money. I want to lay out in this session what's at the core of sales. It does boil down to one word. The core of everything we do as sales professionals. One word, questions. Questions, that's the word. We are professional question askers. No matter your industry. So I come from auto sales, as I mentioned. It's the same in everything from cars to homes to siding to roofs to solar, all of those things. I don't care if you're door knocking or taking ups on the lot. Okay? Questions is what it comes down to. Now, when I talk about questions, I'm not saying, hey, how are you? Welcome to ABC Motors. Where are you guys from? How'd you hear about me? Have you been here before? Come on. You know, we're not talking about that stuff, right? We're talking about real killer questions. I'm going to get you guys some actionable examples of some questions that I bet you're not asking. And when you can implement these into your repertoire, it's going to change everything. So write this down. I want you to get so amazing at asking questions that the client says back to you, that's a great question. No one has ever asked me that before. That's worth repeating, isn't it? I want you to get so proficient at asking questions that the client kind of steps back, looks at you and says, that is a great question. No one's ever asked me that before. If you get that accomplished, you get that response from your client, it's freaking game over, okay? The rest is just paperwork. The sale's done. That's how good I'm going to get you at asking questions. So what are the purposes of our questions, guys? Well, it's to sell, Jim. It's not. What we're doing, the purpose of everything we do isn't to sell. It's to identify and solve problems. And at the end of that is where the money lies. The commission slip comes after the problem is solved. The problem can't get solved till we identify the problem and get the customer to admit that they have one, okay? The purpose of questions is to figure out what is frustrating that client. So that person came to our business, or you came to their house, or they called and set up an appointment, whatever it might be. What's frustrating the client? Let's dive into that a little bit. I'll give you some examples. Well, my car won't start and I have bad credit, or my roof's leaking, or whatever. So next we get them to admit that they have a problem. We know it's frustrating them, but we're getting them to admit they have a problem. That a problem could be, well, I've been to 3 places, I can't get approved, everyone wants too much money down. You see, guys, much like issues in our own lives, we have to get the client to a place where they admit they have a problem before they're really going to get serious and understand there's a cost to solving it. It's kind of called the rock bottom, or you got to admit you have a problem with alcohol, or for an example, or whatever it might be. We won't feel the need to seek a solution at all costs until we admit we have a problem. So I want you as salespeople focused on asking questions that are going to direct the client to admit that they have a problem. I'll give you some sample what I call power questions. So you know what I'm going to ask you to do? Write this down. I want you to study these, tweak them, show them off to your coworkers, unless you want to keep this stuff secret. You're the one that's paid the membership to be part of Building and Becoming and have access to this training, these modules and these trainings. I don't want everybody in your work knowing what you're doing because I want you to have an edge. But if you want to share it with a buddy, that's your business. Got your pen handy? I'm going to give you some gold. Here we go. Mr. Smith, when you and the family left home today to car shop, what would have been your most desired outcome? What? Think of how powerful that question is. What problem were you hoping to get solved when you left home today? What frustrations have brought you to the point of wanting to upgrade your vehicle? When was the last time someone offered to walk you through a process of selection and exact numbers without pressuring you for a sale? Lastly, Mr. Smith, now I want you to hear me out on this, okay, Mr. Smith? If I'm guiding you down a path that you think isn't going to help solve your problem, please stop me so we can pivot. Do we have a deal? I'm going to say the last one again. If I'm guiding you down a path that you think isn't going to help solve your problem, I want you to stop me because we're going to need to pivot. Will you make me that agreement? Do we have a deal on that? So now let's move on. We're at the point where the clients told you about their frustrations. They've admitted they have a problem. They feel stuck. The next question would lead us into, I call it the takedown. And it seems a little aggressive. And in this day and age, we're not supposed to be aggressive salespeople. We need to be aggressive salespeople. We're going for the freaking takedown. You ready with me? Okay, you ready? Write this down. Mr. Smith, would you allow me to show you how the program we have here at ABC Motors will alleviate your frustrations and problems with a simple and easy process? Now, I haven't talked about numbers. I haven't talked about any of the payments and down and credit. And I've just said, would you allow me to show you how our program will help alleviate your frustrations and problems with a simple and easy process? Would you allow me? Boom. You think they're going to say no to that? Yeah, maybe. Some freaking weirdo ups do, don't they? We've been there. If they do, maybe we can jump into something like, I know you've been through this before, but I'm asking you for a little trust, a little more time with no obligation to show you the ideas I have for you. Can you allow me that? I'm going to go back and reiterate what I just said. I know you've been through this before, Mr. Smith, but I'm asking you for a few things, a little trust, a bit more time with no obligation so I can show you the ideas I have for you. Can you allow me that? Ideas I have. Write that down. Can I show you the ideas I have for you? Would you allow me to do that? I didn't say, would you allow me to show you my best price? Would you allow me to go get my manager so he can give you the lowest down payment? Would you allow me? None of that nonsense. Would you allow me to show you the ideas I have for you? I'm trying to give you guys power questions that any reasonable person can't say no to. There are the unreasonables out there we're going to deal with. We're probably not going to sell them anyway. Not today anyhow. We're going to get them though. Remember, you've done such a great job asking questions that now we're no longer in a selling process. We flipped the script into a buying process. Your job's already done. Now it's about developing a strategy to maximize the profitability while maintaining the integrity and ethics. Okay? So obviously there's processes and procedures that are specific to different dealerships, different organizations, different fields of sales. But if you'll implement and integrate these methods, there's no freaking way you won't win. You're going to see better results if you'll take this 15, 16 minutes that I've laid out here. There's no way you're not going to win and improve. So in this short module, I'm banking on the fact that you're already getting massive return for your time and financial investment that you've made in building and becoming. And this is sales module 1. If you're taking good notes and you'll go back and watch this a couple times and you'll implement these strategies and study these and get them ingrained into your vernacular, you're already going to at least add 30, 40, 50% to your monthly income immediately for $99 a month. Thank you for being part of what we're doing. This is just the beginning. It gets better from here, I promise you. In module 2, we're going to discuss winning attitudes and mindsets, again, back to mindsets, that will have you doubling last year's income. That's kind of my goal for you guys, and I'm going to touch on this before I let you go. If you're a $50,000 a year salesperson, unless it's your first month, you ain't at the right place or you haven't had the right training, okay? Salespeople make 6 figures in their sleep. I don't care if you're a buy here, pay here. I don't care if you're selling Porsches or siding. If you're going door to door offering to wash people's freaking windows, if you are a killer and you're putting the right training and community and group in your corner, you're going to be a 6-figure person. And if you're a manager, if you're a leader at any level, we got to be thinking 150, 200, $250,000. Raise that bar. Don't settle for $50,000, $60,000 anymore. That is chump change. We are not about that in this group. We're about having salespeople maximize their income. The richest people in the world are salespeople, okay? And they're largely everyday guys and gals who have extreme intensity, little bit of ego, and they're ready to go out and get it. All right, that's all I have for you on this module. I'll see you again for module 2. Until then, let's grow.